Okay, can anybody hear me now? Testing, testing, testing. Can anybody hear me now? Type 1, testing, testing, testing. Isn't that something? How long has my mic been out? How long was I without audio? Do you mean to tell me for a whole half hour I was without audio, I think? Were anybody able to hear me? And then my audio stop? Or is this the first time you brother can hear me from just a couple? Did I just start a couple of seconds ago? That is, oh man. Am I only, oh man. That is amazing. Do you mean to tell me I've been broadcasting a whole half hour with no audio? Isn't that something? How do you like that, man? That is so frustrating. I thought I was talking the whole time broadcasting and there was nothing but the music. How do you, man? Now that really frustrating right there. I'm so sorry, brother. I didn't know, man. Oh man, oh man. I was broadcasting the whole time. Oh man. Wow, man. I'm sorry, brother. I didn't know. I did not even know, man. My screen looked normal. I was sitting up here talking the whole time and there was no audio. Shoot, man. Isn't that something? That's very frustrating. I'm sorry, brother. Wow. Start all over again. All right. Well, brother, thank you for joining me. Wow. When I left off, I was just talking about what I talked a little bit about the video that we did yesterday, and it was an incredible blessing for me. Let me go back to where I left off when I found out I wasn't broadcasting. So I just talked a little bit about the brother. He brought out the verse. It was talking about the golly, man, that our mindsets, how important our mindsets are, that when we learn, that we don't learn like Christianity, where it's basically people, they listen, but it go in one ear and out the other. The brother brought out, talking about Brother Malachi, he brought out yesterday on the video about the verse of judgment where he talked about we leave with the mindset that we leave our reality with. And the effect that it had on me was to help me to take seriously the things that we talk about in this room, like Creator, when he's talking to us about giving us wisdom, either spiritually or, for whatever the situation is when he's sharing, a brother is sharing wisdom about this or that, and the importance of being able, how we internalize it. Because that what we make ourselves, what I learned is that we eventually become what we think, what our thoughts are. Good to see you, brother Omi. Good to see you, bro. And the importance of how our thoughts will shape our character. It'll shape our character. It'll shape our spirituality. And it really hit me because you can fall into a rut. Even with the OAHSPE, it seems like you can fall into a rut where you reach a certain level of understanding and it don't really impact you anymore. And you just kind of get comfortable and you don't really discern as much, examine yourself as much as you may have before. I think that's just as dangerous as anything, because I think it's better somehow stay on your toes. I was just trying to share a little bit about being able to see the creator every day in people, in government, geopolitically, economically, to be able to see the creator in different ways. Because the world, it's like the world will help us, but then it won't help us. It's like the world, it'll help us, but then it won't help us. It'll show us a bad example how you don't really need to take the creator seriously. You can just, it'll be all good. Everybody will wind up in the same place. Won't be no penalties, or won't be nothing to fear or nothing to look forward to. So when we were talking about that yesterday, that verse in Judgment, where it was talking about entities and how each of us, we describe what type of entity we're going to be based on the things that our mindset, the things that we allow in our thinking and what we believe. And we eventually, we come into that. We manifest that. We start manifesting that. I'd never seen it before. And so it was like a blow to me. And I can hear it. It sounds logical. It was in Judgment. I don't want to try to find it because I'll end up skipping around. So the verse that I was reading when I found out I wasn't even broadcasting, I pick up that again. Guess I'll go a little long because I wasn't even broadcasting for a whole half hour. So I'm just go a little long today with the video so I can catch up. Now here's something I was sharing, that one of the ways I found out about a new way to study when I'm reading the OAHSPE was to pick up on phrases that, for example, one of the phrases that I picked up on that I started to share in the rooms that I'm fellowshipping in, one of them was "Think not, O man." The OAHSPE, it says that a lot. Think not, O man. And this is a hell of an interesting study. Really will get your attention. And then another one was "Man said." That was another interesting study to look at. So here's one of the rooms that I fellowship with, OAHSPE College University. And then I have a room. I have this room right here. I have a food ministry where I target orphans, disabled, and elderly. I can be contacted. I certainly will jump in and help whatever way I can. I will do it. And then there's the other room. Brother Omian's got a couple of rooms. Here's the other room. Nope, that's not the one I'm talking about. Well, let me get the right room, which is this right here. And the links are in the description box. So if anyone is new to the channel, you can click on them, join the room, and be a part of this. So here are some verses that I am sharing. And what you can do is stop the video. And if I go too fast, you stop the video and read what I'm showing on the screen. Now here it says, man said, alas me, why was I born in darkness? Why was I not created knowing all things from my youth up? Isn't that a question that some people ask from different times? Isn't that something that the whole world wants to know? Why was I not created knowing all things from my youth up? It says, why did the Creator not send his angels to be with me every day, to satisfy my craving for light from the Almighty? And then it says, Cosmin answered. Cosmin, that's one of the entities of the Creator. Cosmin, remember? Cosmin. It says, if you had not craved for light, you would not be delighted to receive light. And that's the perfect answer. If you had not craved for light, you would not be delighted to receive light. And that's the perfect answer, ain't it? The wisdom of the Creator. If you had not craved for light, you would not be delighted to receive it. So he makes you want it. If you want it, he'll give it to you. But if you get it without really wanting it, then what good is it for you? You know what I mean? Isn't that logical? If you had not craved for light, you would not be delighted to receive it. And most of us, something that we want something, we go after it. If you had been created with knowledge, you could not be an acquirer of knowledge. And that's something, I don't know, maybe it's nothing for y'all, but these types of little drops of knowledge, it's so powerful, I think. And it's simple, it's logical, and it just makes sense. It makes so much sense. And then check out what the next verse was. It says, if the Creator had given you angels to be always giving you light, then they would be slaves. How do you like that? Ain't no slavery in the kingdom, in the Creator, in the ethereal. No slavery, no taking advantage of one another. Ultimate free will. And then something else that I found, it says, because for 2,000 years you have not gone forth with the sword to possess any new country and establish yourself. You are glorified before your God. Because of your long suffering, ye shall find peace through the light of my kingdoms. Behold, a new cycle is upon the earth. Your people shall find out proof of these, my words. My angels will come into the houses of your people, and they shall talk with them face to face. He says, a new cycle is upon the earth, and your people, talking about you faithists, your people shall find proof of these words, the OAHSPE. My angels will come into the houses of your people, and they shall talk with them face to face. I happen to think that's future, angel visitation, cosmic era. It says, and you shall forsake the ways of the world and go and live in the manner of your forefathers, colonies without kings or rulers, serving none but Jehovah. And your people shall hold all things in common, being neither rich nor poor, master nor servant. And you shall call out to the idolaters, saying, come into my house and be one with me. Behold, there is only one Creator, and you are my brother. Isn't that what's going on right now? But the world has been set up. We're witnessing. I was going to go into a story that I was telling yesterday when the brother came on. when the brother came on, when Cal came on, and we started sharing. And I was going into the story I was going to the store. There were two brothers that were offering to pray for people, had a big sign saying, if you want, stop and pray with us. We'll pray for you. Had it up in his driveway. I talked to him before. This time he had his friend with him. I was inspired to get out, get me some orange juice, and I knew that it was for a reason. And as it turns out, it certainly was. I met these brethren, and I tried to talk to them about OAHSPE, and it was every day. It's almost without fail. If I try to talk to somebody in my reality, you would think the logic is so overwhelming that anybody could hear it. That's the problem I keep falling into. You think that the logic is so powerful that the Creator is giving us right now, it'll overpower anybody. But the human mind, it's an enigma, man. You can't figure it out. You can't figure it out. That's what let me know. I give you one example. I was talking to them. I was trying to tell them, just agree on we start out with the simplest points. I mean, originally, I was sharing how I'm not into really bringing up the OAHSPE anymore with people. I was unable to restrain myself because they had that big old sign, come pray for us, or let us pray for you. Big old sign, big tent. And I was just going by them. I talked with the guy before. Ordinarily, had the situation not been so obvious, I would have just held my peace and kept going. That's my mode of operation now. Just hold my peace, and if the Creator give me an opportunity, and what I consider is an opportunity, which is stopping, I'm talking to somebody, or they want to talk to me, and they bring up something that opens the door, then I'll open my mouth. But this was a little hard to pass up, so we were talking. There were two of them there, and I was trying to talk. I was trying to stay on a real easy, simple, logical discussion on the difference between the Creator and God. That's what we do as faithists. If we get the chance to talk to somebody, you stay on a real simple subject. Real simple, where somebody should be able to say, yeah, I get it. It does make sense. It makes sense to me. So I'm talking to them and trying to get them to see the logic behind the Creator and a God, and how it would make sense that, like, if they had children, would you worship your children in the sense that you would bow down to them, and you would pray to your children, and just trying to make the point of the difference between the two, the parent and the child. The child came from the parent. It's out of place for the children to be worshiped by the parents. Now, really, in this reality, there are some people who do that too. They worship their children. They, what I mean? Especially if their children, they have the talent, they gift it, and a lot of parents will do that. But ordinarily, how that's out of place. And so I use that logic in talking with these guys. And, difference between the Creator and the God, and they couldn't see that. And I already knew in my heart that I wasn't going to get anywhere. I just felt it. But I found one interesting thing that happened. I was talking to him, and I said, look, man, why don't you turn on, I wanted to start on contradictions in the Bible, and I said, turn on your computer, man, and why don't you bring up the OAHSPE so I can show you something? Because one guy kept saying, tell me, where's Christianity? Is Christianity in there? Why are you saying these things about Christianity? Can you prove it? And I said, yeah. I said, if you want me to, if you give me a chance, I will. I said, but ultimately, these are just words written on a book, and whether you can receive it or not, then that's between you and the Creator. And the guy thought I was stalling. he thought that I was trying, like, he can't prove it. He don't know what he's talking about. And so he kept pressing. He said, prove it. Let me read it. What you talking about? I said, all right. I said, why don't you go to this book? Go to this book called Book of OAHSPE, chapter 48 in the OAHSPE Bible. And so they grabbed the laptop, and don't you know, they could not bring up the OAHSPE. I even got on their laptop, and I couldn't bring it up. It would not come up, man. It came up. The word came up. It would not let the OAHSPE get out. It wouldn't let the PDF form come out. It wouldn't let I was in a state of shock. But the way they internalized it, God wouldn't let us find out about what you're talking about, because you ain't telling the truth. You see how it works? I knew that there was something spiritual behind not being able to bring it up, but they internalized it another way to think that, see, our God is protecting us from you. They don't want us to look at that because they know it's not right. And all I could do is just laugh and shake my head that they're going to feel that way. I'm going to feel the way I feel. And I couldn't use any logic with them because they couldn't hear that. And so I just thought to myself, this kingdom is set up perfectly. The false gods have set up this kingdom perfectly. And the Creator, he really is going to just force you to make a choice. And a lot of the things in the OAHSPE, it's so logical, it's so simple. You should be forced into concluding that it sounds like the Creator. It sounds like it's logical. This is really the only type of kingdom that can perpetuate itself over all, forever, is when men seek to serve one another, help one another, to put off selfishness. That's the only type of kingdom that can work forever. When you got a kingdom, and I was even trying to bring this out too. I asked them to look at the fruit of Christianity. Look at the fruit of it. And then I talked to them about how even today, Christianity is getting ready to go to war with Mohammedanism. I talked to them about that. Couldn't get them to see that. It's a perfect setup. It's a perfect setup. I have to hand it to the false gods. Their system, unless a brother or sister is anointed, they're gifted, they are chosen, they can break. That's the only way they can break that mind. You have something that's got to happen. It's got to be a spiritual thing. The Creator's got to reach down and basically pluck you out of the situation that most people by far are in. It's set up, the whole system is set up so that they automatically know. I mean, there's a verse in the Bible, it says, like, if the man or God or angel comes with any other doctrine, do not receive him into your house, don't listen to him, this type of thing. And if people know anything, they know that verse. So that when you faith is coming along and you try to share the wisdom of the Creator, they can't hear you. It's a perfect storm, man. It's perfect the way the false gods, the way at least Luamon has protected himself, protected the worship of himself. That's what we up against. You can't tell nobody. You can't, you can't come against tradition. And then the OAHSPE, it talks about, that's why the Creator, he had some of those libraries burned to the ground. Those libraries, like the Alexandria Library in Egypt, the Creator orchestrated it so that thing was burnt down, because it was time for, like, even in the Bible, I share a lot about you can't pour old wine into new wineskins, and how you, brethren, you faith this, you're new wineskins, and You can't pour old doctrines and traditions into us because, like the Bible itself says that the terror. Matter of fact, let me bring it up. Let's look at it, y'all. Let's look at it together, man. It's interesting to read this. I really think it's interesting. New wine into old wine skins, King James Version. I mean, you just see where the Creator, even though the corruption of the Bible is coming out like never before, how the Creator glorifies himself by using it to give us certain wisdom. You read here, you read there, and there's some nuggets that Creator is showing you that he's more powerful than the deception of men. Matthew 9:17, it says, neither do men put new wine into old bottles, else the bottles break and the wine runneth out and the bottles perish, but they put new wine in new bottles and both are preserved. There's a lot of wisdom and it's spiritual. And you got to sit down and meditate on it, man. You know, you brethren, faith is, we're the new bottles. I know it sounds allegorical. There's no problem with some things allegorizing them if the conclusion, if there's a solid conclusion behind it, it's solid, it's logical, it harmonizes with the OAHSPE. Man, you should be able to hear it, you know. You should just simply be able to put two and two together, you know. We're proclaiming a new word in the sense that it only has been published since 1869 or something. That makes it a new word. We're able to examine it. We're able to see historically, you know, contemporarily. Fritz! Brother! Fritz! Good to see you, brother. Fritz! Good to see you, brother. Thank you for joining us, man. Good to see you. So that can be the frustrating part, you know. Even in this reality, man, let me say something if I may. You know, people, like, one of the things that I see in this reality is how parents, they talk about their children, especially women, you know, their newborns. You know, I have a newborn, you know, she's only 2 weeks old, 1 day, 7 hours and 36 seconds. They talk like that because they appreciate their newborn. You know what I mean? So how can you not talk about something you love? You know what I mean? What I'm saying to you, Faith, this is, how can you keep the Creator inside, man? I can't get that. I hope I never get that, man. You know? And here's one example. When you see the wisdom that he brings you, you can certainly be able, neither do men put new wine in the old bottles. The new wine is the OAHSPE. The old bottles is tradition. It's the beast kingdom. It's Christianity. It's Mohammedanism. It's Buddhism. It's Hinduism, you know. And the Creator, he said that the times of this ignorance, he winked at. But now he commands men everywhere to repent. And that's for our own good, because you should be able to see with your own eyes the fruit of Christianity, of Mohammedanism. They can't get along. They getting ready. I had to close my windows. Hold on a second. Okay, that's better. So the picture is that, you know, Vedas are new wine. The OAHSPE, that's new wine. The old bottles are Vedas in the sense that we're full of old wine. which is tradition, which is religion. And you can't, and you're seeing it like when you see the brethren and they are having debates with religion. You can't put new wine into old bottles. You can put them into us. It makes sense to, I mean, what I should have said is that we are actually, I should say that we are new wine and we're new bottles. That's how I should have said this. That's how I should have explained this. We are new wine being put into new bottles. But when you try to take, like I was talking with those guys, and I even said at one point, I said, man, don't you think that I should get some, now I made a mistake and said I should get some credit. I should have said the creator. I said something like, man, can't you give me a little bit of credit that I'm able to answer you and you can't answer me? Because all I would ask a question and then they could not answer. Like, I asked them if, one of the questions I asked them was like, was there Christianity before Jesus Christ? And they guessed at it. And I said, what is the inspiration for Christianity? And they didn't know. I said, who wrote the Christian Bible? Who wrote it? How was it compiled? And they didn't. They guessed. They said, I forget. The one brother gave an answer, but it was wrong. It was, I forget what. I think he said something like prophets wrote it or something like that. And, that type of thing. I asked them to show me where I could read about the youth of Jesus Christ. Is there any contemporary accounts of Jesus Christ? And it's going to be hard, I admit, for a Christian to answer a faithist. And, they couldn't answer. And it didn't bother them that they couldn't answer. It didn't even bother them. You cannot put new wine into old bottles. It's just amazing how the Bible is getting brought to life. It's getting brought to life, man. Now I see the reason why I went through all those dry Bible studies, years and years, man. It was for familiarization purposes. That was the creator all along. He was preparing me, just like you, brother, getting prepared too, to point these things out to the present darkness. And the amazing thing is that you're going to be able to see with your own eyes the glory of the creator. You're going to see what mind control looks like in your real life. Again, man, I got to say it again. The brother, he brought it out how if we're going to need a little bit of knowledge to at least know what deity idolatry worship is. He said that we're going to need that. You need a degree of knowledge, man. I'm sure the spiritual, it intrigues you, brethren, all the time, like it does me. Like, I tend to think, man, it's a whole new day, which I'm sure it is. But when you read and get more understanding, it's like, it's the same thing, only let's say like in this reality, you just ain't got no flesh. Your consciousness is like, it's expanded, I'm sure. But it's just like, say, we touched on how the brother brought out how if you ain't got no knowledge, he said you'll be easily duped. Actually, matter of fact, I want to try to find that too. You'll be easily duped. That's the creator talking, man. I mean, he actually used that word. And so the thing we learned yesterday when we were talking on the video is that it's important to know at least that little bit, man, that little bit of what deity worship is, what idolatry is, the worship of anything born of a woman. Anything born of a woman, man. Just that little bit. Just that little bit, man. Now here it is right here. Now, where is that? Let's make it bigger. I mean, if anything, man, Because of your that's another thing. See, that's another way that the Creator glorifies himself, using a corrupted document. Using the Bible, man, even that he can use to glorify himself and speak to you, because he knew you were going to be under it, at least for a while. Now, I'm looking for where he says that you will be able to be easily duped when you don't have no knowledge. And that's amazing, because I'm typing in the word, but did I spell it wrong? Nope. And it won't bring up the verse that I'm looking for. The one where it talks about you crossed over, here comes the Spirit, and you don't know anything, and it finds out, and it just tells it's like, you just do anything the first thing tells you to do. Cross over in the Spirit, you don't know what's going on, you more likely going to believe the first thing that approaches you, telling you what to do. You're more likely, So I want to really find that verse. I hope it let me find that verse. Let me see if I can find that verse where he gives out that warning. There it is right there. Here it is right here. What book is this? Osiris. Look at that. I'm going to go into the reading at the bottom of the hour because I started late. I was broadcasting. I broadcasted for a whole half hour. Wasn't even broadcasting. Didn't even know it. So it says, verse 2, Book of Osiris, I created man with a corporeal life so that he could learn corporeal things. But behold, the Ihwans have lost all energy to acquire earthly knowledge. The Ihwans, right? The progeny of the Ihens and the Asu. That's us, the Ihwans, if I'm not mistaken, present day and age. And this is probably true for a lot of brethren. You're faithless and you lose that edge, tired of learning, lost the ability to examine yourself, kind of lose that thrill that you had at first of the things that were being shared to get you out of darkness. You kind of lose that enthusiasm, losing energy. It says, depending on their familiar spirits for information on everything, thus wasting their mortal lives in non-improvement. You get kind of tired, that's one thing that make me pray, man, that I hope I don't get to that. I hope I don't, fortunately, I haven't seen very many brethren who burn out. I'm glad of that. I seem to have a lot of examples of brethren around me who it just seems like the OAHSPE ain't going to let you burn out. It ain't going to let you burn out, man, to where your light goes out. I was talking with a brother today, good brother today. He said, he was basically saying that the Creator, or was it him or was it somebody else? I think it was the brother I was talking to today, Brother Malachi. And let's see, was it him? Well, it don't matter. The principles. Basically, brother was telling me that the Creator is able to keep you going. His word, you're going to actually get tired of being blessed with his word, if anything. I've been in Christianity. I've been in cults. I've seen where people, they get tired and they can't do it no more. They can't run no more. They go back into the world. You hear that a lot. You hear that a lot, man. That's why I was sharing earlier. If you don't find a way, and I'm just trying to, I'm just trying to share what has worked for me. I make use of the world. I look at the world, man. I look at people. I look at everything, man. I'm sorry I keep saying that. I hope it bless some of y'all I hope you can see what I'm talking about, man. I need to be fed every day, man, spiritually. I got to see something. Because you can get, I perceive that the Creator, the pull of the world is pretty strong and you can be taken away. I've learned the lessons of the false gods and how they had higher. They were elevated higher than us, and they fell back. Some of these false gods, don't that get your attention? You know what I mean? So I have been taught everywhere, every situation, primarily people, they teach me a lesson all the time. They teach me a lesson all the time. I try to learn. I try to look at how most people, they throw away their opportunity to build themselves a house in the eternal, meaning shaping uh, your spirit the way you want it to be, man. Remember the story I was sharing in OAHSPE? It talked about the beautiful woman. You cross over, you say, "Who are you?" She, knowing me, I would say the first thing I'm gonna notice is a woman's beauty. A Libra, man, that's their thing. They pick up on if a person is attractive to them, and they let you know it. So that would be immediately what I would say. Like, man, you are beautiful, man. Are you free? That would be the first thing I would say. You put beauty in my face. And then the woman comes, she says, "Yep." She says, what did she says? She said, and it's OAHSPE, it says something like, "She's yours," or he is yours, for you sisters. I can't get over that, man. He or she's your, some guy, "Hey man, your wife is very, very lovely, man." My wife, what do you mean my wife? Who are you talking? That woman over there is your wife, and wow, well, the OAHSPE, it says, I'm embellishing, but really I'm not, because the OAHSPE says that your thoughts are your thoughts make up the beautiful, they make up the beautiful half of you. You know what I mean? The OAHSPE, yeah. Remember? That guy said, "Who are you?" And the woman said, "I'm yours. I'm your beautiful wife. I am the fruit of your thoughts, of your beautiful thoughts. I am the fruit of your beautiful thoughts." How do you like that for spirituality? It says, "Thus wasting their mortal lives in non-improvement, so that when they die and enter heaven, they are easily made slaves of by evil spirits." Easily made slaves. I really believe that, man. You don't know anything. You're afraid. You're confused. Somebody comes along. Hey. What are you doing here? Who's your God? "Oh, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ." "All right, come with me. And then he goes on to say, it would be better for them had they no knowledge of spirit. It would be better, he says, no knowledge of spiritual life, so that they would put in the service the talents I created within them. See to this matter, O my sons and daughters, for their desire for the presence of the spirits of the dead will draw fetals upon themselves." Those who will draw fetals, they will suck the life out of you. And it says they will go down in darkness like the ancients. So the brother, again, man, we warned, we gave out a warning. We were reading from the OAHSPE. We gave out a warning about, our minds, what we let in our ear gates and eye gates, and, how there's such an incredible warning behind that. That gives you a reason to watch and to use discernment, knowing that we're shaping our own selves. So here's something else that I posted. It says, "But because you have accomplished the one ever-present goal, you shall no longer be an exclusive people, but should allow your sons and daughters to commingle with the faithful of all races and tribes of men." Then you can read that if you want. And then it says, something a brother posted there. You can read that. Another verse I was sharing: "Through the seed of the faithless, I have held up the Father's kingdom by the voice of my beloved, founded him in all the nations of the earth." talking about us, the faithists. I love the part that the brother was bringing out yesterday about how, or maybe not what Malachi was bringing out, but something I read where it says, or this brother right here, matter of fact, that commented, I think this is what I'm thinking about. Well, I don't know. This might not be it, but he made a comment on another post, kind of breaking down something I posted. And it was talking about how the Creator, he's chosen America. He's chosen the Western Hemisphere to be the starting point for cosmic era, for the kingdom. He's chosen the Western Hemisphere to get it started, to teach the world a lesson about the cosmic era, about the Creator, about the kingdom of the Creator. He's chosen the Western Hemisphere. How do you like that? Something else I shared, it says, your enemy exalted, saying, behold, talking about faithists, they are a scattered people, but your God profited in your footsteps, and in the words of your mouth, there is only one great spirit, Jehovah. And I provided to you after the manner of your forefathers a place to inhabit where you shall no longer pay tribute to gods of the idolaters. You know where that place is? Well, I think that, I was getting ready to say America, but I think that we're scattered all over the world. But you can certainly see this taking place at this day and age. No longer paying tribute to the gods of the idolaters. We know that that's the beast kingdom. That's the beast kingdom, man. And again, yesterday, the video, the brother brought out, Creator, he makes them fight themselves. Or not the Creator, he ain't got nothing to do with it, I don't believe. Even in the Bible, it says in the book of Daniel that the image, y'all remember the image? That it was destroyed without hands. And I think it's referring to the Creator having anything to do with it. He lets the statue fall by its own doing. Remember the statue? Silver head or gold head? Neck of silver, shoulders of brass, feet of iron and clay. The image Daniel seen, talking about the kingdom of man in its digression, starting from one point down to where we are now. And then the stone made without hands, it smashes the image. The image is done, the image is destroyed. It's done without hands, it says. Daniel, I think it's chapter 10, the image. Now we can see what's going on. It's just like that dude, Albert Pike. It's just like he prophesied. That's what makes you think that our reality is orchestrated. It's orchestrated. When they have that type of knowledge, when some guys have that type of knowledge, the secret societies, I'm led to believe that they get their knowledge from the false gods. They get the ability to bring about things. They can write a prophecy and bring about a, reality. We know right now that the false gods are at war with one another. They're at war with one another. Christianity against Mohammedanism and Japheth, which is China. They're going to get involved. We can see that. I think it's just like in the scripture where the Creator, he said that he's going to make the mouth of the wicked fall on themselves. And we witnessing it. These are the things that we got to see, man, to keep ourselves encouraged. Here's another verse. Those who could comprehend me, having faith that my presence in person would ultimately triumph for the highest and the best. I commanded to be called faithless. Since the beginning, I have kept a thread of this line inhabiting the earth and our heavens. So we go, our line stretches all the way back to faithless. He says that those who could comprehend me, that's faithless. And they have faith that my presence in person will ultimately triumph for the highest and best. See, we know there's no, I don't want to sound harsh, man, but there just ain't no reason to chase the world. I mean, we got to live, I don't want to sound ridiculous. But chasing the world to the exclusion of your spirituality, to me, that's insane. It just is, man. He says, having faith that my presence in person would ultimately make this. That's what they know. They know the story. It's really already been written. The book and the ending has already been revealed. You know, he says he was going to call us faithless. He said, since the beginning, I've kept the thread of this line, inhabiting the earth and the heavens, meaning that we've always been here. I mean, we've been deceived. We've been in captivity. We've been in slavery and bondage. Here's something else that I shared. And to all who separate themselves from the dominion of the beast, see there? Dominion of the beast, religion, Christianity, Mohammedanism, Buddhism, Hinduism. Man, I can't stress enough how hard that is to do. Creator's got to do it. When people's minds are convinced and set, man, God help you, man. You ain't able to keep an open mind, God help you. May God help you, man. And that's exactly the effect of the Bible. It seals some people. They're sealed. You ain't going to tell them nothing. There are people, man, who are like ducks. You know, they follow the first thing they see after birth. They won't leave, man. They're ducks. The first thing you see, and you won't break for nothing. It says, all who separate themselves from the dominion of the beast. That's the dominion of the beast. Making these covenants to me, I've given the foundation of my kingdom on earth. And all such people shall be my chosen. By their covenants and their works, they shall be known on the earth from this time forward as mine. How do you like that, man? How do you like that? Would you like to be known as mine? The Creator calling you mine? You know, the Creator. He said, all such people shall be my chosen. By their covenants and their works, they shall be known on the earth from this time forward as mine, and shall be called faithless. But to those who will not make these covenants, I've given the numbers of the beast, and they shall be called Uzzians, signifying destroyers. And from this time forward, these shall be the two kinds of people on earth, faithless and Uzzians. Isn't that something, man? He says, and all such people shall be my chosen. By their covenants and their works, they shall be known on the earth from this time forward as mine, and they shall be all faithless. So I double posted that. It says, in the past, have I not said all things shall be revealed? And here's one of those do not think verses that the idea was given to me to look at all the do not think verses. It says, do not think that a loud speaking messenger will come, for a man would not believe. But I quicken the righteous with my own hand, and they shall comprehend without belief. Now, there's a warning really in that verse that is easily overlooked. Now, he does say, I quicken the righteous with my own hand. And he says, and they will comprehend without belief. That means more subscribe to the logic of a thing without necessarily claiming allegiance to it. And yet, the Creator, he calls them righteous. And we live in a reality where we've been taught to do this very thing, to subscribe to something, and we don't really believe because your actions, they really say who you are. Your actions. I think that Christianity, it has a big hand in teaching you to, you know what I mean? It has a really big hand in teaching you what's a good word for slight convert? It's like, skin deep conversion, where it don't really It don't go down into the spirit. Conversion is only skin deep. That's a serious danger. You got skin deep conversion. When you get down to some of the harder things that the Creator talk about wanting you to do, now I don't want to come down on some of the things that that I don't even want to mention them. I don't want to vex brethren, but probably what I'm talking about, the different things that the Creator, He says, don't do this, and it's not as easy. But it doesn't mean always that somebody's conversion is skin deep. It's like a lot of things are hard to do, man. They take time. But I think when it really gets strong enough, then we can do the things that we might not find easy to do now, that we'll get help if we can endure. It says in verse 19, the time of preaching and believing is at an end. Now man is going to know by his own knowledge and practice that which he knows. He's going to practice what he knows. It says, in this my light is being manifested in this day. And again, Jehovah spoke in heaven and answered the day's prayer, and OAHSPE came forth being one of the first fruits. For this is the cosmic era. Talk about this word. The Creator is saying it's not going to be just knowledge. It's going to be out of practice. It's going to change from knowledge to practice, faith. A change. No more beast kingdom worship for the faithless. No more worship of man for the faithless. A change in character. Time for the reading of the word. Time for the reading of the word. The name of the video is Second Resurrection Exactly. All right, and that's in the book of Bond. And the Creator, man, he's just going to lay it out. He's going to just lay it out, man. He's going to lay the second resurrection out. You brethren already know it. I'm sure you brethren. I'm going to read. How about starting in chapter 26? So let's get there first. Now, it's the Ark of Bond. So let's get to chapter 28. Don't want to make you dizzy looking at the screen. All right, let's go to chapter 28. Or should I start in 27? Let's make the screen bigger. Now, the second resurrection exactly, man. Should I start in 26? Let's see. All right, let me see. Chapter 28 is where it really picks up. But let me go ahead and hey, Dave. Yeah, man, shoot. I was sitting up here broadcasting the first half hour of the video. Come and find out my audio wasn't on. How do you like that? How do you like that, man? I still, even right now, it's like vexing the mess out of me. I didn't even know until I think Mahalia told me. I was sitting up here broadcasting a half hour. Didn't even know that I wasn't broadcasting. So, shoot, man, that was very depressing. I'm trying to recover. So here we are, chapter 26, Ark of Bond. It's called Second Resurrection Exactly. It picks up in chapter 28. So let me see if I can get to it. May the Creator bless the reading of his word. It says, Jehovah said to China, now I will stir up the nations. Through you, I will show them the glory and dominion of my kingdoms. And then it says, for you shall walk without feet, write without hands, hear without ears, see without eyes. And you shall rise in the air like a bird by your own will, go wherever you chose. How do you like that? Verse 3. It says, and you shall bring down the thundercloud at the sound of your voice, rain shall fall. And you shall say, go away, you clouds, and the sun will shine in their place. Now, this is talking to Chenaiah, one of the sons of Jehovah. This is the power he had. So you got to conclude this is the power that Faithist will have at some point. Unless I'm mistaken. It says, verse 3, and you shall bring down the thundercloud, and at the sound of your voice the rain shall fall, and you shall say, go away, you clouds, and the sun will shine in their place. You shall come to some who are hungry, and your voice shall rise up to me, and I will send down from heaven the food of heaven, Hayoma. And your people shall eat of it and be pleased. And you shall stretch up your hand over the dead that are ready for the furnace, and they shall come to life again and be made whole. How do you like that? How do you like that, man? He's talking about what Faithists are going to be able to do. Unless I'm mistaken, I don't think I am. He says, for these are the testimonies that you are my servant. So we're in the Cosmic era. Is it possible the Creator is saying he's going to lay these testimonies on us? I think so. For these are the testimonies that you are my servant and have kept my commandments. What are his commandments? To serve one another, to worship only the Creator, Jehovah, to be filled with good works, to be a benefit. That's the only things I can think of. To be selfless, to teach, to help. Verse 8, it says, on what you shall say to them. So verse 7 says, for these are the testimonies that you are my servant and have kept my commandments. He says, and what you shall say to them, behold me, I'm only a man. Why do you fall down prostrate before the gods and worship them? See? Isn't that something? Why do you worship a man made of a woman? Why do you do that? He says, for I charge all you people that you shall not worship me, nor call me anything but a man striving to do the will of my Father, the Creator. How do you like that, man? Get out of deity worship. It says, for whoever becomes one with him, to such a person, many miracles are possible. Although I declare to you, they are not miracles. In fact, but possibilities granted by Jehovah to the upright who serve him and act in truth. Now, I don't know of too many brethren who can raise the dead, provide food, that sort of thing, what we call miracles. I don't know of anybody. And I think we'd have to know of someone, they would be world famous. So I have to think that the Creator is yet to reveal this verse. Here's another verse where he's telling us before he manifests this, before this comes to pass. Verse 10, it says, Jehovah said to Chenaiah, and when you have shown these things to many, know then your time on earth is finished. So it was historical, but will it happen again? Because Chenaiah is not here. unless it's something spiritual. He says, for I will cast you in a trance, and the people shall bewail, saying, alas, he is dead. And they shall cover you and cast your body into the furnace, as is done with the dead. Cremation. Is he talking about cremation? And they shall cover you and cast your body into the furnace, as is done with the dead. Is that talking about cremation? Is it okay to be cremated? He said, and the fire shall blaze and consume your body before them, but you shall have previously bid them watch by the furnace. And you tell them, I'm going to go into the furnace. Come by and watch what's going to happen to me. For you shall gather together the elements of your body and restore them, and again inhabit it and go about preaching before men. And again inhabit it and go about preaching before men. Okay, yep, cremation, Dave. So he's going to resurrect and restore his body and go about preaching before men again. Chene. Therefore, get ready, declaring these prophecies beforehand so that they may be testified to by men, so be recorded in the libraries of the kings and queens. Sounds to me like the inspiration of Jesus Christ. Sounds to me that this is one of the things that they look back on to. Maybe Luamong, maybe he got his inspiration for Jesus Christ based on this Library of Heaven account right here. Could be. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. The knowledge of the Bible, the narratives of the Bible, they came from somewhere. Those are narratives that were compiled and put together. Death, burial, resurrection. Verse 12, Chene conveyed to the congregations of Faithists, the true Zarathustrians, what Ormazdi had said, and many of them wept bitterly. In years prior to this, when Chene had traveled and preached by the voice of Jehovah, he visited kings, princes, rich men in many regions, and while he was thus speaking, rebuking them for their governments and their possessions. How do you like that, man? That's solid right there. See, he wouldn't have been happy with the governments of our day to day. The governments, man, that's geopolitical. He wouldn't have liked what's going on today. He wouldn't have been down with it. When the government don't serve the people, the government has to go, man. Crater said he gave man the idea of governments, and their purpose was going to be to serve the people. We got a government that serves Israel. They got the master plan. Somebody in the Bible, in the chapter of Matthew, took that deal. That's all I know. Bow down and worship me, I'll give you the kingdoms of the world. That means he gave them a certain knowledge. 2% of the world population, and they are at the top. They are represented like 70% of their population is represented in captains of industries, like see, they're gifted in their economical, they're gifted in their comprehension. The Satan, which is really the self, somehow they got the inspiration to get the power of the world. Now, you see, Dave says, oh yes, Luamong most likely used one or more such records in the libraries of heaven. I'm with you there. It can only be the reason, man. It can only be the reason. I mean, that account in Matthew 4, I'll give you the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. Fall down and worship me. So here you have the smallest group of people in the world, and they are known for owning things. They're known for being tribal, and that's how they consolidate power. They are, you hear the story all the time about how a candidate, they fund a candidate, they buy the candidate, they buy politicians, they buy them. I mean, I hate to say it, but this place is so wicked, man. I can barely stand it. I'm talking about America. I'm talking about mankind in general, man. Especially America. I mean, it is so evil and devilish. It's gotten to a point now, don't nobody really care about their character. It's all about feeding your mind. It's all about corruption. It's all about imbalance. And man, truly, man, I hate to sound so negative. This verse is so powerful. Chene, he rebuked him. Why don't you try that now, man? You will be in the clink so fast. You can't, the truth is not welcome here. The Creator is not welcome here. You, brethren, ain't welcome here. Get that? Don't be deceived, man. You are not welcome here. You faithists are not welcome here. Dave said more than likely, Luamong, he used the story of Brahma and Yuda. Good point. Well, let me see. Brahma and Yuda, however, he could not pull it off because he had become a false god. Okay, Brahma and Yuda, we read that a couple of weeks ago. Brahma, Yuda had some sons, honorable, noble people. And I might not be pointing out what is specifically what Dave would say here, but how their account was similar to the narrative of Jesus Christ. I'm trying to think right now. But anyway, I can't really come up with anything right now. Let me go on. It says that, read it again. In the years prior to this, when Chene had traveled and preached by the voice of Jehovah, he visited the kings, princes, and rich men in many regions. And while he was thus speaking, rebuking them, he was rebuking them for their governments and for their possessions. And they took no part against, it says they took no part against him. But afterwards, when he was gone, the kings, queens, and nobles said, Chene has preached a dangerous doctrine. See, that's just like America. It's just like it. If you threaten their hegemony, if you threaten their dominion, if you threaten their power, if you threaten their rules, then you must be taken care of, meaning, done away with. It shows you, man, that man, he just never changes. He always can only think about protecting what he has dominion over. He can only think protecting his and taking other people's. It says, Chene, so they get together, kings, queens, and nobles say, Chene has preached a dangerous doctrine, for he said, you shall have no king but the Creator. Who is king over all? Who is king over all? He said, will this not set our slaves against us? And if the people go into communities of their own, ignoring the king, where will the king find this revenue? What's going to happen to my good life, man? Who's going to wash my feet? Who's going to clean my house? I'm not doing it because I'm the king. I'm not doing any work, and that's exactly our government, man. They don't mind lying as long as they can keep that money coming in. It's a terrible shame. It's a terrible shame, man. Don't care about your character. You'll lie for money. You'll lie for it. You'll sell your character, man, just so you can live easy. in this world, as long as you have a few years of comfort and privilege, a man will sell his soul. He'll sell his soul. Dave says, remember the graves of Brahma and Judith birth. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. And arm in arm, they ascended to the fire ship above them, hidden behind the clouds. Yeah. Judith went first. Brahma, it said his soul burst open, and he ended up joining her in her resurrection. The account of Judith and Brahma. And what book was that? I forget. First Lords? I forget. See, that's why I'm saying, man, I learned by looking at people. I'm sorry. Brethren, this channel, me, I can't help it. I learn a lot, but I look at people, man, because here I am in my 60s, and it's still hard for me to believe that people will think nothing of your character. You'll think now, not like I'm perfect, but I seem to always think I got a character, and somehow that's all that matters. That's all that matters, man, before the Creator. I know I can't get nowhere being evil. That's what I concluded in my own mind. I'm not going to get anywhere, man, being corrupt, man. So just throw that out the window. And when I look at politicians, man, and government leaders and people in office and public office, I realize it's very rarely if you can get there without being corrupt. And I can't help but think about the Creator, how he telling you, man, you don't get away with nothing. You're not going to get away with anything, man. You're going to pay for that. You are going to pay for that. I know, man. I know that there's a day coming when we're going to look up and we're going to see that the Creator is going to show us. I'm talking about faithists. I think that somehow, I could be wrong. I wish somebody would tell me, man. Not like I get a kick out of it. You need some type of reinforcement to keep you on the right road. We need some type of reinforcement we need to be able to look and learn a lesson. That's just part of being a human being. I mean, I would think we all need to, we need to know, man, there's something that we want to avoid to make us act right. Verse 14, and there were priests of Dias and of other gods and speakers in temples, oracle houses, where the gods wrote on sand tables. Besides these were countless seers and prophets, and the kings being on the alert, meaning the doctrine of Chine, the faithists, a threat to their kingdom, and the king being on alert, investigated the matter, inquiring of the spirits as to whether the doctrines of Chine were true. And some of the spirits said, there is no all person. There is no Creator. Don't worry about it, man. Behold, we have visited the stars and the sun and looked far and near, and we did not see any Creator. Surrounded by the Creator's creation, they don't see the Creator. See? That's the humor of the Creator. Yeah, behold, when we have visited the stars and the sun and looked far and near, we didn't see any Creator or all person. There is no great spirit except you, O King, Tia, who was a one-time mortal, but is risen in all power in heaven and earth. And so, do you brothers see how the Creator, he make fun of man? I mean, I'm not saying it's like he show how silly, man. I mean, I'm looking back, man. Okay, so I'm looking from an advantageous standpoint, but it just make you look. I mean, man, it's like, how can we, how can we be so blind, man? And here, these are spirits talking to kings and queens and you know what I mean? I mean, sometimes you just can't get it, why things are the way they are. It's a mystery. Verse 16, another spirit said, there is nothing in heaven that you do not have on earth. How shall we find Ramazdi? That's the creator. Do not waste your time with Chinea and his doctrine. He will overthrow your kingdoms, eat, drink, and satiate your desires. For these are the sum and substance of all kings in heaven and earth. Well, let me read that again. It says, and other spirits said, there is nothing in heaven that you do not have on earth. How shall we find Ramazdi, the creator? Do not waste your time with Chinea and his doctrines. He will overthrow your kingdoms. Eat, drink, and satiate your desires. For these are the sum and substance of all things in heaven and earth. So eating and drinking and satiating your desires, that's all that there is. Just do that. Don't worry about anything else. Verse 17. Tizi, king of Asham, the capital city of the province of Ain Napo, who was also a great philosopher, had previously heard Chinea preach and was greatly interested. Sometime after this, a magician, Lucen, visited Tizi, who told the magician about the wonders of Chinea. The magician listened to the king's story, and the king asked the magician whether he himself, in addition to his sleight of hand, could he manifest wisdom in words like Chinea? If so, how could it be attained? Lucen is a false spirit. Lucen, the magician, answered, Tizi, O king, you do not know how you have embarrassed me, your servant. For when we are young and finding we have the natural powers for a magician, we go before an adept to be taught all the mysteries of the order. And here we must take a most binding oath, never to reveal by hint, word, mark, or written character anything that will reveal any of our signs and mysteries, and binding ourselves under great penalties, which I cannot name to you. So the king wants them to do something that they are bound in an oath not to do, basically, is what he's saying. And then he says, know then, O king, I can answer all your questions and am desirous to serve you, but what shall I do? Now we're going to see corruption. The creator is showing us what false spirits look like. And then verse 20 says, the king said, I, being king, absolve you from your oath. So king is telling the spirit, I'm overruling the oath that you're under. Go ahead and answer my questions. So the magician said, compared to my power, though I only beg from door to door, your power, O king, is only as a chaff before the wind. And my subtle realms are the keys of all dominions. Not only do I and my craft rule over mortals, but over the spirits of the dead. My oath then is too great for you to absolve, for I cannot even absolve it myself. Okay, so I'm wrong. He's saying that he can't. He's under something higher than the king. King can't do anything about it. But when he starts to talk about something I'm going to read here, all of a sudden, things are going to change. Let's read. It says, Tizi, the king, said, since then you cannot do all things, and especially absolve an oath, you are not sufficient for me to deal with. Lucen, being desirous of earning something, a little money. As for that, O king, I tell you, I cannot reveal all, for the virtue of my art depends on its secrets and mystery. Nevertheless, I'm very poor, and I might reveal a index to you by which, if you would apply yourself diligently, you could attain the remainder. Now, he's winking at him about how he can get what he wants out of this spirit. So the king commanded him to perform before him, agreeing to award him according to the decree of the fates of spirits. And Lucen at once went to work, performing wonderful feats, such as causing the tables, seats, and desks to move about and to roll over. And he caused voices to speak in unseen places. He also changed rods into serpents, caused birds to sit on the king's shoulder, and he changed water into wine, and also brought fish and laid them on the floor of the king's feet. King said to him, all these things I have witnessed from my youth up. Show me now why, while you remain here, how you can see into my neighbor's house. The magician said, yes, O king, but for that feat it is necessary to enter the state of the Holy Ghost trance. But the price is expensive. See, money, 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 right? Money, 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 money. See? Always got to have money. The king said, I will pay you. Therefore, enter into the trance of the Holy Ghost. Lucien turned up his eyes, gave a shudder, as one dying, having stretched himself on the floor, bade the king to question him. The king said, here is chalk. Mark on the floor the character that is on top of my tablet, on the left of the throne. Almost immediately, the magician marked correctly. And now again, the king tried him as to his power to see without his eyes in far off places. And having proved him in many ways, the king said, can you also show the spirits of the dead? Lucien said, in truth, I can, O king, but that requires me to enter the sublime state of creation. Oh, and is even yet more expensive. Oh, we need more money to do that. You see, Dave says Lucien is not a spirit, but a mortal. Okay. He is the familiar. The familiar is doing things through him, which is the Druidian spirit. Okay, so David's correcting me. He's saying Lucien is not a spirit, but he's a mortal. Yes. And the familiar is doing things through him. So he submitted himself to a familiar spirit, Lucien. And that's what's going on right here. He's working. He's showing these miracles to the king from the first resurrection, really, if I'm not mistaken. A Druidian spirit. He's in the first resurrection now. And so, from what I understand, they're able to do what we call miracles. Let's read. We're going to get the answer. I don't know if let me see. It's kind of also, I'm already, let's see. All right, let's keep going. I don't know if I'm making to chapter 28. I'm kind of far away from it now. It says, the king said, haven't I said I will pay you? Get moving then. Enter the sublime state of the creation at once. Lucien then went to a dark corner, laid himself down on the floor, and then swallowed his tongue and was motionless and stiff, like one that is quite dead. Presently, a light like a thin smoke rose up from his body, and it stood a little aside, and the smoke spoke out of the light, saying, yeah, so he is immortal. Lucien then went to a dark corner, laid himself down on the floor, and then he swallowed his tongue. Yeah, right, Dave, you're right. He swallowed his tongue, and he was motionless, and said, presently, a light like a thin rose, like a smoke rose up from the body, stood a little aside, and a voice spoke out of the light, saying, who are you that calls up the spirits of the dead? Beware, he whose body lies stiff and cold beside me is one of the hearers of the immortal gods. What do you ask, man of earth? The king said, who are you? The voice answered, I am Josh, Tian, ruler of heaven and earth, the great spirit personified, creator of all things. The king in satire said, you are welcome, O Tian. I am one of the most blessed of mortals because you have made my place. You have made my place a holy place. Now it says the king in satire and sarcasm. He's joking around with this Tian, making fun of him, really. Tian introduces himself as ruler of heaven and earth, the great spirit personified, creator of all things. Tian is not buying it, the king. So it says, the king in satire said, you are welcome, O Tian. I am one of the most blessed of mortals because you have made my place a holy place. says the spirit then assumed mortal shape and stood before the king, even while the magician's body lay on the floor in sight. Also, the spirit said, "What question troubles you, O king? Speak, and I will answer you, for I am all wisdom and truth personified." The king said, "Why have you not appeared to me before this? Why have I been left in the dark as to your real existence? Answer me this, for it is the foundation on which I desire to rest many questions." The spirit said, "My son, teasing, I have been with you since your youth." The spirit said to the king, "My son, teasing," he calls him my son, teasing, "I have been with you since your youth, watching over you, for you shall become the greatest king in all the world. Yes, there are great works for you to do. And if you desire to extend your kingdom or to gain great battles, I will show you the way. Yes. Or if you desire another woman to wife, I will find her for you. Yes. Appealing to his flesh. The king said, "You are a great heavenly ruler. I fully believe, but you did not answer my question. Moreover, you question me about my kingdom and about whether another woman, about my kingdom and about another woman to wife. And these things are not what I desire of you. And as for the matter of women, I did not yet have one wife. Consequently, I do not desire another. I do not yet have one wife. Consequently, I do not desire another." The spirit said, "Who do you say I am?" The king replied, "I am at a loss to know if you're a fool or a devil." This spirit is not fooling the king. "And I say that I have either seen one like you or else you through many magicians. But alas, their all knowledge ends." So he don't see anything spiritual in these spirits. The spirit said, "You said you would pay what the fates decree. Hear me then, O king. You shall give to Lucian 4 pieces of gold, and after that I will explain all things to you." So the true spirit of these spirits is coming out. They're not spiritual, they're earthly. The king then cast 4 pieces of gold to Lucian and demanded the knowledge as promised. The spirit then said, "And on your oath you will not reveal?" The king said, "I solemnly swear to reveal nothing of what you teach me." The spirit said, "Know then, O king, I am Lucian the magician. By long training, the magician attains to go out of his own body in spirit and appear in any form or shape desire. Will you try me?" The king said, "Show me the spirit of King Hagauzi." The spirit walked back to the body of Lucian and said, the spirit walked back to the body of Lucian and presently returned before the king, looking like the spirit of Hagauzi. The king said, "It is like the king. It is like the king." The spirit answered, "Here then, O man, is the end of philosophy. Behold, I am Lucian also. Some men are one spirit, some 2, some 3, some 4, to one corporal body, and yet there is only one person, in fact." The king said, "What becomes of the spirit when the corporal part is dead?" The spirit answered, "One of 2 things is possible to every man. His spirit will either dissolve into non-existence and be scattered and void like the air of heaven, like the heat of a fire that is burnt out, or else it will reincarnate itself in the body of a child before it is born and so live over again." It says all people came into the world this way. A child. Now he's lying. These are all lies. Okay. It says all people came into the world this way. A child that is stillborn is one in whose body no spirit reincarnated itself. There are no new creations. The same people live now on the earth that always lived on it, nor will there be any others. They go out of one body when it is old and worn out, and then they enter a young one and live over and again forever. Nor is there anything more or less for any man, woman, or child in all the world. Now they going back and in and out of the body, from what I understand, familiar spirits that they can do. They can, I think Dave will correct me. That fetals is some spirit that can attach and graft themselves on a corporal body. It says the king asked, "What then is the highest best thing for mortal man to do during life?" The Spirit said to eat and drink and sleep and rest and enjoy begetting numerous offspring. Appealing to the flesh. Enjoy begetting numerous offspring, nonstop sex. The king answered, how long would the spirit live if it did not reincarnate itself? The Spirit said, if the mortal body is burnt to ashes, then that is the time. If a mortal body is burnt to ashes, that's reincarnation. Then that is the time. If the body is buried and rots and then returns to earth, then that is the time. If the body is embalmed and keeps well, the spirit goes back into the embalmed body and remains there until that body is molded into dust. When the body is molded into dust or burnt to ashes, then the spirit is set free, ready to reincarnate itself and to dissolve and disappear forever. The king asked, as it is with you, is it the same with all magicians? No, that's not true. Reincarnation, first of all. The king, once you're born, that's it. It's onward and outward forever. There's no going back into the womb of a woman. The king asks, as it is with you, it is the same with all magicians. As it is with you, is it the same with all magicians? The Spirit said, you have only given 4 pieces of gold. If you would have more, the price is expensive. So this is the Spirit showing his true colors. The king said, I've told you, I would pay it whatever fate's decreed. Therefore, proceed. The Spirit said, it is even so with all magicians. The king asked, show me now that you can preach like Chine. The Spirit said, you shall ask me questions and I will preach on them. The king asked many questions and the Spirit spoke on them. Finally, the king said, that is sufficient. I will pay you. Go your way. As for your preaching and your doctrines, they are nothing. Nor will I send or find another magician, for out of the council with many I shall arrive at the truth. So let me see. Time for the end of the reading of the word. I'm late. I started late, and so I'm going to have to pick up again tomorrow. The second resurrection exactly. Well, tomorrow's Wednesday, so I can't pick up then. I have to wait till Thursday. But for those who can't wait, it's going to go into the second resurrection. It's not like a singular type of thing. It's a mass thing. So it's like in our reality, brethren, all at once, a mass of brethren are going to enter the second resurrection. To make a long story short, they're going to go into it more into these coming chapters, but you might not be able to hang out. So I'll just tell you that much. And then next video, Thursday, Creator willing, just go into it some more. Second resurrection, community, kingdom, brethren, serving one another, ministering to one another. Second resurrection, kingdom of the Creator. The second resurrection also goes into the false spirits and their part in the second resurrection as well. But the major point is that what we were talking about yesterday, you can know what resurrection an angel or spirit that you're dealing with based on whether they come like these angels did or spirits or whatever, these mortals to the king. If they come from an earthly perspective, you're dealing with you're not dealing with the spiritual entity in anything. Thoughts that come to your mind, they point you to the earth. You're dealing with angelic, earthly. I mean, they are not ascended angels. If they point anything, things you think in your mind, if it points to the earth. Oh, Elijah, I didn't see what you said here. Yes, second resurrection is all about ascending. Yeah. It goes into a little more detail, but the big picture is a couple things. Knowledge to discern from second resurrection and first resurrection. And second thing is whether they speak of earthly or of spiritual things. I mean, in our reality, for me, all I see is first resurrection. According to this criteria, the fruit that comes out of a person about the earth. And I mean, I'm not downing anybody I seem to think that the Creator, he puts people where they fit the best, that they're happy with. It don't always got to be hellfire and, getting burnt the hell out of. I don't see the OAHSPE that way. I think that he really lets people make a decision. He really, it's like if that's what you want, personally, it's hard for me to see because when we read about our crossing over, when we cross over and what we can expect, I don't see how anyone can refuse that. I just don't get it, man. Only thing that I can begin to think of is that this reality, the things that you attach yourselves to, you're going to do it in the spiritual. That's what it seemed to say. I seem to think that faithists, they can renounce things that maybe have a hold on them for a while. Just renounce it, and renounce it in the struggle to overcome. And then I think there are, we're made up of people who, let me see, Elijah says, letting go of the selfish side of Satan. Yeah. You say there's 48 tetracts? I thought there was like 7. There's 48? I didn't know that. How do you like that? 48 tetracts? I think I might slightly remember something like that. I can't really think right now. But the Creator, he makes it so easy. He just makes it easy, man. I mean, all the rest of the days of your life, he just make it easy, giving you the understanding where you can dedicate yourself now. Really, really basically using the OAHSPE to warn us for get out of the beast. Don't go into the beast. Don't go into worship of man and love not the world. Set yourself to be a minister, to be a benefit to your brother. And that part should be fun anyway. I just constantly think of a reality, man. I like to have a party with people, not by myself. Good people, man. They look out for you. They feel the same way about you. You feel for them. They realize that they don't have that the only thing that really matters, man, is the things of the spirit, peace, love, joy, harmony that you have with one another. It's much better everywhere the OAHSPE, man. It's always talking about the brotherhood of man. Might as well just get used to it, man. Every now and then, just to digress for a moment, the video is over with. Brother want to come in. Let me drop the link so you can come in if you want to before I close the video. Let me share something real quick. Sometimes to distract myself, I have a golf game. They got it where you can play golf, to distract myself from time to time, keep the tetracts out of my mind, to fight the evil inspirations. And so I recently bought a golf game, or you download it and golf, and they show you these scenes of famous golf courses. It's like they show you a picture of what it actually looks like, and they let you play it, And you look at these scenes, man, and they got houses where they're real lavish and spread out, and ain't nobody else around them, Ain't nobody else around them. Now, it's a shame, man, where that's the principle in the world, where first thing people do when they hit it, they get off by themselves. I've been to neighborhoods where it's really nice houses, ain't nobody outside. Nobody's outside enjoying what. I'm not saying they don't do it, never. I'm sure they do, but I just can't picture the kingdom of Creator where everybody is they just keep to themselves. I think people, the Creator, I think he wants us to for us, for people to be part of the spice of our reality, because everybody makes up different flavors. They show you different flavors. And I think that's a lot better than just looking out and always seeing only one, your own perception. I just, you know what I mean? I can't imagine that. I wouldn't want that type of reality. You want that variety. You want that, what's a good word for those, you want that variety, basically. Yeah, I guess that's just the best word, that variety of life. I think that's part of the spiritual. I think we can see that in the Creator, where you'll read about lonely gods and goddesses, and there always somebody around them, a company, But anyway, that's the end of the video. I'm going to pick up Thursday, no video tomorrow. It's the Wednesday. So I'm going to be in Bible study. So I'll pick up Thursday, Creator willing. Oh, I have the link in the room. If someone wants to share any little thing, then please feel welcome. We had a good time yesterday. Good time. Good time. The major points. Brother, he came in. Cal, he was talking about his astral projection. And, the OAHSPE, it says any one of us could do it. It says any one of us could do it. We could astrally project, any one of us. So we talked a little bit about the entities yesterday. We talked about the entity, how, and it's a terrible shame, man, how we make up ourselves. How do you like that, man? We make up ourselves. In this world, people body build, they work out to build up their body. And they go through some things. I remember I was looking at YouTube. I was just, and a video came up on my screen, on my feed. And it was some dude named Sonia Basrat or something. And he looks inhuman. He was a bodybuilder, from where, Armenia or Turkey or somewhere. The dude looked inhuman. He don't look like a human being, man, And I came across it, and it made me think, when you want to build your body, see, in this reality, you can see why guys would want to. Some guys, they really, they get into it. I mean, it's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying, but the lengths that brethren go through in order to get that type of build, so that in this reality, is to gain attention, to get people's attention. You want people to look at you. You want them to respect you. You want them to acknowledge you. It gives you a source of, it gives you a degree of power over people. You're able to do something they can't, it brings, you're unique in that way. And in this earth, a lot of guys, they get into that, for that reason, for carnal reasons. In the spiritual, the thought that came to my head is Creator was saying, saying to me, Yaquab, you're the same way. Your brethren are the same way. They're really spirit builders. These are brethren. Now, for a little bit, I got into it, weightlifting and bodybuilding. And, for a little bit, I thought I'll go ahead and try it. And I mean, I'm already naturally a big guy. I have the frame to, if I were to stick at something like that, I could be a success. And I say that, my mom, she took Charles Atlas pills when I was in her womb, she told me. And so I blew up, I mean, it's not always the best thing because, supplements like that, they affect your thyroid. And so now I have thyroid problems. And it leads to all kinds of, now I'm not coming down on my mom, of course not. There's a little glory behind being a large guy in this society. People ask you if you play football, and there's a little glory behind it. But for me, it didn't stick because it's too temporary. You know what I mean? It's too temporary. And so guys, they get into it and they don't mind the temporary benefits of being able to walk around with your shirt off and wearing your tights and on the beach and the attention you get. I'm not faulting them or anything. I'm just saying that that's the way it is. Everybody would like to be noticed, would like to stand out some type of way. And I was looking at that dude. Matter of fact, let me show you what I see. The video is over with. Let me show you what I see. And it was like the inspiration that came over me is that, Yaquab, that's you. That's your brethren. That's what y'all look like in the spiritual. I'm talking about brethren who you can attain to hearing the Creator's voice. You work on yourself every day, just like those bodybuilders do. They work on themselves, man. They eat right, Faithists do the same thing. That's what the Spirit, it's like, I don't care about bodybuilders or anything like that. I think the Creator, he do things like this to send you a message, because sometimes you could use encouragement, And I came across this by mistake. Well, you can't say really by mistake. This guy is a monster. Really bodybuilders are, And the thought that came to my mind is, Jaquab, that's you. In the spirit, that's you. It's also your brethren and sisters. You look like that in the spirit. Look, man, this guy looks like an alien, Cal came in the other day. He said he talked to a 30-foot dude in his astral projection. And that's the thought that came to my mind, man. That is the thought that came to my mind, man. It's like the Creator was saying, yep, Yaquab, that's you. I'm showing you what you look like in the spiritual. Now, it sounds funny, I know. But I'm telling you what I was, and I was glad because I could tell you, brethren, that. See, I could share that with you, brethren. I'm glad to say to you, brethren, that more than likely the Creator is saying, you look like this in the spirit. These guys here, they work out. A lot of time people ain't around them. I remember a story about Arnold Schwarzenegger. How he used to break the windows of the gym and go AWOL while he was in the army to work out. That's dedication. It's the same way with Faithists, man. As you are day by day, as you are considering things of the light, the Creator, examining yourself, searching yourself, you are building up your spiritual self. I can see it. It makes sense to me. I think the Creator has given us an example. He uses earthly examples to give you a picture of the spirit. I just really believe that. I don't know if we'll even recognize ourselves. Maybe we won't even recognize who we are. We read where the Creator said, remember, I'll never forget that story, man. The angel or the spirit or whatever said, I'm you. I'm your woman. I'm the result of your beautiful thoughts. Now, that ain't going to fly with the world, but it fly with me. I really do believe it. I'm sorry, man. That's what this walk is. You just have to be able to walk, you have to follow your heart. Not the corrupted one, but the spiritual one. You just have to do it. And that's how I see it. And if you do that, that's what takes us all the way. That takes us all the way from here to there. It takes us all the way. See, they do it for earthly reward. And this dude died. He died young. See? Now, the important thing is, what type of witness do you have? I mean, I don't want to judge the guy. I don't know if he's faked this or not. You know what I mean? But ultimately, I'm just trying to say that there's no comparison between the spiritual and the earthly. You know what I mean? We all know that. All right. Anybody want to say anything? Is there anybody in here want to say anything? Just click the link. I'm going to keep it open for about a minute or so. See if y'all want to share anything. So I really, that I appreciate, I really appreciate that lesson. I think that, I was just looking on the feed and, YouTube, different items come up and then the way this guy looks, he looks like a monster. And when you as faithists, I know that you brother tend to look at things spiritually. I think that that's a good principle. When you look at things and things come to your mind, I think the Creator is giving that inspiration to consider yourself. So that's good enough, man. That's the best I can do. Nobody want to come on. So thanks, brother. Thanks, Dave. So shoot, man, I want to give thanks to the Creator for this opportunity, this incredible opportunity, man. Incredible to be able to share and to say something, to be able to communicate the joy, the anticipation as we wait for our kingdom. Every day goes by, we get that much closer. We know that it's all good, man. The only sadness is not being able to reach other people. We can't force nobody. But I sure do thank you, Creator, for this opportunity. Thank you for this opportunity. Pray for my brethren that you grant them the same opportunity and strengthen them in their walk, and that we can overcome the world, that we can get together with one another, talk to one another. So, brethren, that's the best I can do for right now. Thank you for joining me. My video Wednesday Bible study won't be here. Thank you for blessing my soul and having a fellowship with me. So until I see you again Thursday, Creator willing, peace, love, light, wisdom, protection, grace, mercy, be to you, brethren. And until we meet again on video, peace be unto you. Shalom.